in the 39th and 40th verses of the second chapter. Sri Krishna is talking about also in the 41, 39, 40, 41. The Peninsula talks about Buddhi Yoga. See, the word yoga is to be understood in the present context. In different contexts, it means different things. Here, yoga means Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means the Karma Yoga. The way Karma Yoga is different from ordinary karma. We all do karma all the time. Sometimes bad karma also happens. Karma means action. We are always doing something, either through the mind or through speech or through bodily organs. We are doing actions. Now, this is just general action. But when we purposefully do our actions in a specific way, as we study from the Karma Yoga portion here in the scripture, then it is Karma Yoga. Why it is called yoga as opposed to simply karma? Because then it acts as a bridge. Yoga means two things coming together. What are the two things coming together? Then we are here, individuals at the human level, body, mind level generally. Most of the time our awareness is at the body, mind level. And then that's where we are now. Now the goal is to reach the divine. And the scriptures are saying that divine is nowhere else to be seen but right here. In us, all pervasive, but this is where we should look for it. So this journey from the body-mind level, where we reside most of the time, to the divine level, where we want to go, that's our destination, that union is yoga. That path, that journey, that is yoga. Yoga means reaching there. This is the bridge. There are many bridges to complete this journey. Among them, Karma Yoga is one of the paths, one of the bridges, accessible to most people. That's why more emphasis is given here on Karma Yoga. The path of devotion is there. When the path of devotion comes later, then we have some questions. Devotion to personal God, Ishvara, or God, what we call God. Then that raises many questions. God means what is God? How to think of Him? Different people think of Him in different ways. Our personal understanding of God is different. So then which form is to be worshipped by whom? Those questions come, and how to be devoted to some unseen God. But we don't see God normally. So to have devotion to that God, and how to practice devotion, all those things. Some questions make up it. These are good questions. But when we do the path of meditation, which also comes later, another path, to reach the same goal, then also the question comes, we require to concentrate our mind on one divine subject for a long time without changing the subject, without allowing including thoughts to come. That is difficult. Then they talk about the path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga. That means we have to always take the unwavering position that I am essentially divine. I am not the body, I am the mind. I am going to stay like that under all circumstances. We can think like that, but when something goes wrong here, then our attention is compelled to go to the body mind, where all the problems are felt. So it is difficult to maintain that position. I am not the body, I am not the mind. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. I am not the sense organs. Manogati Ahankara Chittaninaham. All of that. To discard our connection with this inwardly, mentally, not physically, and to maintain position that I am the self, I am the Atman, I am essentially divine, consistently under all circumstances is difficult. So all these difficulties come. But when we talk about Karma Yoga as a path, it seems it is relatively easy and accessible to everybody, because everybody is always doing some karma. And you don't have to necessarily bring the concept of personal God here, though it will help greatly in doing karma yoga. So it takes it is more global, more widely accessible. So that is, it is called Buddhi Yoga here. Buddhi Yoga means karma yoga in this context. So what is the essence of Buddhi Yoga? That we will learn in the later slokas. There are two aspects to know about the meaning of Buddhi Yoga, which will come in later verses. So we will do that one. Now he says in the 39th verse, Sankhya Buddhi Yoga Imam Shuru, Buddhav Sharanam, Buddhav Gujjayukto Yaya Bharta Karma. If you follow the path of Buddhi Yoga, which we are going to study shortly, then we will become free from the bondage of work. Why work is called bondage? Because it takes us to a loop generation. We will see that we are caught in a loop when we do karma. So we to understand this loop, we have to follow this kind of reason. First thing is, karma is generally motivated by desire. We have some desire, something that we want to do, or something that we want to escape from doing, that is also karma. So that kind of desire is there, not satisfied with the present position. I want to achieve this, or I want to prevent that suffering. That sort of motivation, desire, makes us do some karma. But that desire arises in the first place because we are not feeling perfection. We are feeling imperfection. We are not experiencing the divine presence within us right now. What we are experiencing is the human aspect of our personality, which has positive and negative aspects. So, we want to do something to improve the present situation. That is how desire arises, because avidya or lack of knowledge of the self, that is what causes desire. We have seen all of this before. All this is old information, how desire arises in everything. Then the desire motivates us to do some action. When we do action, ordinarily it results in some result. Karma produces karma phala, fruit of action. That fruit of action, result of action can be good or bad depending upon what action we do and how we do it. So the result of action, we have to partake of it. When we do something, necessarily the result will come, then we cannot escape. We cannot do something and say, I'm going to take the consequences. Consequences will come when you do something good or bad. So we have to take. And then we react to that one, that consequence. Something bad happens, then I want to again prevent it. Like this, it propels us to do more karma, and then the cycle repeats. That is why it is called karma bandha. Yes, karma bandham prahasyasi, he says in the 39th verse. So by doing karma yoga, we will break this cycle. We will find an exit from this cycle. If you do karma in a certain way, as advised here, then we will not be caught up in that loop. We will not be bound. Then we will find a way to freedom. That's why karma yoga is advised. That is simply 13th sloka says we can become free by doing the yoga or karma yoga. That is all it says. It does not say what the yoga is or how to do karma yoga. It does not say here. It will come later. So we will, the 40th verse is also very, it has a positive message here. Let us do the 40th verse. It is very interesting, important. Neha vikramana shoti, Neha vikramana shoti, प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते
प्रत्यवायो न विद्यते
स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य
स्वल्पमप्यस्य धर्मस्य
त्रायते महतो भयात्
त्रायते महतो भयात्.
Here Sri Krishna is simply extolling the advantages of following any kind of yoga, karma yoga, specifically here in this part, but generally any kind of dharmic lifestyle if we lead, virtuous lifestyle if we adopt, that will not be a waste of effort. Earlier we saw the difference between worldly knowledge and spiritual knowledge, spiritual purpose and worldly purpose. The difference is quite clear. We studied that. If supposing in worldly endeavor we succeed in this life, we acquire a lot of education, graduate degree, couple of graduate degrees, PhD, everything we do, and we also earn a lot of money, savings and everything, property, family, children, everything comes, so we are happy. Worldly progress we have made. Now what happens to all of that? All of that is only good, only as long as this life lasts. Once we leave this body, all of that will go. We cannot carry any of that forward. But if you take spiritual progress, supposing I do some kind of spiritual sadhana practices, devotional practices, in whatever way I am guided. I worship God in some way, I do some meditation, I do some study, I think about something, positive things I accumulate, but I won't reach the goal of salvation in this life. For example, we will not be able, some may not be able to reach the goal, but we will make some progress, small or big, some amount of progress is done. Now, when this body is to be left and we continue our journey in another mode, another body, then this amount of spiritual progress we made will be saved and will start from where we left. You don't have to go back to step one. So that is the advantage of spiritual progress. We have understood that earlier. Just like driving long distance from Boston to Los Angeles. Every day you make some progress. At night you halt somewhere, stay in a hotel. Just morning when you get up, you start from where you stopped last. You don't have to go back to that. Until we reach the goal, we keep making progress. But every day a little bit like this. That is what is mentioned here in the 40th verse. Here it says, Neha Vikramana Shosti. There is no loss of effort in this adventure, in this venture, a spiritual journey. Whatever distance we cover in this spiritual journey, from the point where we leave up here, from there we continue the journey next time. And this happens until we reach the goal. If we reach the goal in this life, then journey is complete. That is what is mentioned. Pratyavayo navidyate. There is no adverse side effect. Sometimes what happens? In some respects, worldly progress is good, but sometimes it does not necessarily bring peace. It brings some other problems too. This famous sage, Bhartrihari, he has said, I don't remember all the words of the shloka, in his composition 100 verses on pronunciation, 100 verses of the moral principles, like that. There he has said, whatever you acquire in this life comes associated inevitably with fear. Like this he says, all these things, sarvam masta bhayam, guvidunam, in this world, whatever things we acquire, all of that somehow comes associated with some kind of fear or negative aspect. If nothing, fear of loss will be there. If you acquire a lot of money, It does not necessarily make us really more peaceful. Some money brings worries also. Then we have to take some extra measures to protect it, safeguard it. If people know that you have a lot of money, then other kinds of problems will come. You have to have bodyguards and things like that. If you don't have any money, you can really walk in the street. Even mothers don't want to help. They know we don't have very much money with us. What we do. But if you know you have a lot of money with you, then or if you have an expensive car like Ferrari or something, then you have to lock it all special precautions for the thing. So he says, Sarvam to be Ayanvitam. In this world, everything comes associated with fear, if nothing, fear of God. In you, we have fear of all you. Supposing a person is very youthful, very good looking, handsome, all health and everything is there. But there is always lurking behind it the fear that someday he will go. So this is what happens. Everything comes associated with some kind of fear. Fear of loss, eventually everything will fade away. That's the fate of all worldly sex. Not that it is bad, but as long as we know limitations, we enjoy it. But we know it has limitations. You are aware of that. Then you are alright. But what is one thing which is not associated with fear? But he says at the end, Sarvamastavaranvitam Vinanam Vairagyameva Bhayam. The only thing that is totally free from any kind of fear is Vairagya. Vairagya means a sense of freedom from all these burdensome things. Vairagya means not being burdened with all these things which come and go, and even when they are present, sometimes they create problems and they don't have any intrinsic power to give us happiness anyhow, though we think happiness is coming from there. So supposing we reject these things and achieve some higher kind of intrinsic happiness which cannot be lost, which is always ours, our true nature, the joy, the bliss of knowing the self, of divine presence within us. If you enjoy that, there is no fear of loss. It does not diminish. It is not a function of it. In old age, it does not go away. Even when the body goes, that still stays with our intrinsic nature. Is that one. That's the only thing that is totally free from fear. So that is why in this case, in the spiritual progress, there is no fear, there is no adverse side effect, there is no fear of loss. Once you acquire it, whatever little you acquire, that's not going to be lost. Unlike worldly progress. So that is the Neva Vipramana Shosti Pratyavayo Vidyate. Then second line, Swalpamapi Asya Dharmasya. This dharma, this virtue, virtuous life, spiritual life, is practiced in a little bit. Some people do a whole lot of tapasya, they do austerities, they do hours and hours of meditation, they do all those things. But many of us cannot do those things. We do a little bit, depending upon our ability to do some spiritual practice as much as we can every day. We are all different in our abilities, how much we can do of anything. Spiritual life also is like that. We have a little bit of devotion, a little bit of understanding. We take the name of God, we do something like that. Swalpamapi asya dharmasya. Even a little bit of this dharma, if you diligently follow, Prayate Mahato Bhayat, it will save us from the danger of ignorance. That's the positive thing. So we have to keep that attitude. I will do as much as I can in this life. I will strive to the best of my ability to make spiritual progress, to complete the journey in this life to the divine. We go to 47, 48. We skip some slokas, deal with Swami Karma, etc. 47, 42, key slokas. Those two slokas, especially 48 verse in the second chapter, that contains the gist of all Karma Yoga. Everything is there. Then more elaboration, explanation will come in subsequent chapters. So here 47 plus we shall do. Those two are key slokas. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते
मा फलेषु कदाचन
मा फलेषु कदाचन
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूः
मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि
मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि.
This is a very oft quoted shloka in the Gita. Many people reel off this shloka every now and then, but you have to try to understand the meaning well. Here, what Sri Krishna is saying here is, when we do some work, karma, any kind of work, he says we do not have the power to completely dictate what the outcome should be. That is the gist of this work. We have to do the karma. We cannot escape doing something. We are always doing something. Now when we do something, supposing we are doing a project, some business deal or some scientific research project or something I will do. When I do that, I have a specific purpose, goal in mind. I want to achieve that goal. It's that target. I have that. That's why I am doing that work. Now when I have that target in my mind, this much I want to achieve in this amount of time, I have a timeline also in my mind. Now that up to that I am okay. I have to do all of that. Now what actually happens when the work is actually done is the result may or may not tally with my expectations. Always it does not. Sometimes it does. In any project, this uncertainty is there. You do the work with to the best of our ability, with all the knowledge and skill, experience, everything we bring to bear on the work. Very diligently we do the work, hard work we do. Still sometimes we find that the result does not measure up to our expectations. Then we are disappointed. Sometimes it meets our expectations. We are happy. Once in a while, it may exceed our expectations too. In our own life, so many things we do, we have some expectations. It will happen like this, it will happen like that. Sometimes it is expectations are fulfilled, we are happy. Sometimes a little bit less, we are okay, we accept. Sometimes exceeded, we are very happy. But we don't have what Sri Krishna is saying here in the 47th verse. You don't have the power to dictate always the outcome of your work, though you do your work. So that is the gist of this part. See, he says, Karmani eva te adhikaraha. You have power, your jurisdiction extends only to the field of work. What work you want to do, how you will do it, which way, how long you will strive, how much effort you put in, what kind of methodology you use, all those things you can decide. There you have freedom, you have power. Some, not completely, there are also where you have constraints. Everything you cannot control in one also. But some, to some extent, you have freedom. Ma phaleshu. When it comes to phala, the fruit of action, we don't know what to do. Anything, any kind of outcome may come. We don't know which outcome will come when, whether it will be to our liking or expectation. We don't know, have any power to always dictate what the outcome should be in any work. I just give one example, but it applies to same thing, applies to anything in our life. Our work may succeed, it may fail, it may be in between. So that is what is going to happen. Then you have to know why this uncertainty is there. Why do the work have to be able to say what should be the outcome? Why don't we have the power? Why it is so unpredictable, uncertain? That question will come and that will be answered later. Right now he doesn't give the answer. He gives the instruction. This is what it is. Why it is like that, what can be done about it, will come later. Now he says this is how it is. This is a fact. That it cannot dictate the outcome or the outcome. So what is the solution? Then continues the instruction. Ma karma phala hetu bhu. Ma bhu. Do not be. Bhu means be, because we are. Ma means don't. Ma bhu karma phala hetu. Karma means action. Phala means, karma phala means the fruit of action. Hetu means cause. You are not the cause of the fruit of your actions, though you do the actions. That means you don't have the power to dictate the outcome. You do the work still, but the power, the result is not up to you. It will be decided in a different way. That we have to know. But we are not the deciders of the fruits of our action. That's what it says. We are not the deciders of the fruits of our action. We are the doers of action. That is what it is. Now, that is third. Second leg, first part. Ma karma phala hetur bhu. Then last part is important. Ma te sangostu akarmani. Akarmani te sangaha ma astu. Karma means action. Akarma means absence of action. Akarmani. Ma te sangaha ma astu. Do not take recourse to inaction. He adds the instruction in the same level. It said like that is, supposing you tell me, see, you do some work, but you have no power to control the outcome, to check the outcome. It's not up to you. Then if I am told that I don't have the power to dictate the outcome of my work, then I will come up with the question, then why should I work? If I don't have any power to dictate the outcome, I cannot say how it should come out, then why should I bother to work? I will not work. Krishna says, all right, try not to do any work. You cannot. Later on says, nobody can remain without work, doing work even for a moment. Alright, then I will say, if I cannot dictate the outcome of my work, then I will do just the minimum I am required to work. I'll just do the minimum and then I will not strive to do the best. Well, in any case, I don't know what will happen, I cannot dictate. So why should I bother to work very hard and try to do things very nicely? I'll just do something I'm required to do. So I'll do something and I will, that's all. He says, Ma te sangos karmani. You do not take recourse to inaction. You have to do action, yet you don't have the power to dictate the outcome. That is difficult for us to accept. This sloka is difficult to accept. We know the meaning. But why it is like that? Why you don't have the power to dictate the outcome? You are doers of what? That question works us. We are used to thinking that I can control everything. I do this work, in this way, this much result must come. That's what I think. But Shri Krishna says, no sir, that's not going to happen. You do your work, don't try to escape work, that also won't work, but you don't have the power to take it. So I have to accept that. That is difficult for us to accept. Because our ego says, no, I am the doer. It's supposed to be like that. Krishna says, no. That is why we have to understand why this instruction has come and what to do about it. That's all the rest of karma yoga is, all that. It will gradually come to us. Now let us just do this. Ma te sangostu akarmani. Do not try to escape what? It will not work also. You will have to do what? Will be forced to do what? Nobody can stay without doing any work. We know that. Actually, people think it is difficult to work. The truth is, the opposite is difficult. It is difficult not to work. Try to not do any work for 1 hour every morning when you wake up. Not going to work. You have to do something. If nothing else, if suppose I say I don't go to work every day, you all people go to work every day. Monday to Friday, sometimes weekends also you work. But somebody like me, you are trying to cop out. No job, no family, no job, no property to maintain. I'll become a sadhu, sannyasi, good. But can I just stay in my bed in the ashrama? I don't have to go to work. And I have no property to maintain, I don't have the children to feed, and I don't have to do anything, I'll stay in my bed as long as I want. How long can I stay like that? 1 hour I can stay, 2 hours I can stay, and then I have to get up and go to the bathroom, drink coffee, eat. I'll feel hungry, I should eat some food. Then when work starts, all these things start. You can't escape work. It's more difficult, not work. So work is inevitable. So Sri Krishna says, don't try to escape work. Don't take recourse to inaction. That's not going to work. You do your work quite nicely, diligently, with love, with enthusiasm. You do the work. But learn to accept the outcome with equanimity. Don't win your happiness, hopes for happiness and the outcome. Find happiness in work itself. Outcome is not up to you. If I say to myself, I will be very happy if I succeed in this work. If I don't succeed, I'll be very unhappy. If I make a condition like that in my mind, if I make the outcome of work as a determinant of my happiness, or it will make my happiness a function of the outcome always, being happy when it succeeds, being unhappy when it fails, then I will never be happy. I don't know when failure will come. That's not living. The best way is to do our work with great joy. What is the privilege? The people who cannot work, they are so happy, they are able to find someone, do some work. People who are sick, who cannot work, they have to lie down. Are they happy? Not doing any work. They wish they would get up and do some work like other people. Work is a privilege, it is a joy, it's an opportunity, and we should be thankful that we can work. I'll be very happy if you cannot come and give this talk here, which may happen anytime soon. And have the opportunity to work is a great joy. Work is a privilege, a joy, an opportunity. We find fulfillment in work. Result, you learn to accept. Whatever I do this, whatever happens, I will be happy with that. In the end, everything evens out. Some good, some bad, some success, some failure. In the end, and on the whole, everything, on the average, everything evens out. But specific cases may not measure up to expectations. In general, if I do good hard work with great love and enthusiasm, it should produce good results. But not specifically in every instance. So whatever happens, I learn to accept it with equanimity in success and failure. That comes in the next verse. So Sri Krishna gives the instruction what to do. This is the case. Why it is like that? Why is uncertainty, inability to dictate the result? That is not understood right now. That understanding will come later. But the fact is, that is what it is. Now what is to be done? What we have to do is, as Sri Krishna says in the 48th verse, alright, you learn to do work with equanimity, do the work properly, as we are supposed to don't hold back on anything, with full enthusiasm and diligence, as much as we can, with love we should work, not grudgingly. Whatever work we should do with love. That makes us happy, that gives us joy in work. Then, when the time comes to see the outcome, result comes, maintain equanimity. Success, failure, in between, whatever comes, okay. If failure comes, I don't want to be dejected, depressed. If success comes, I don't want to be arrogant and proud. Why is this? Either case, to maintain the calmness. With the same grace with which we accept success, with the same grace we accept failure, we learn to do that, we can learn to do that one. Then we are always happy. Where does our happiness come from? Our happiness comes from doing our work with great joy. Our service is done, our work is done. I am thankful for the opportunity. I am happy that I could do this. Outcome, not accepted. Whatever comes, I will accept. If we have that attitude, then we can be truly happy. Work will show us a way to speed up the doing. So that is what that instruction is not as difficult as it looks. With some practice we can do. So this next verse, let us see, 48 verse, what we should do. It gives two instructions. Two key instructions it gives in the 48 verse. Let us do that. Yogastha kuru karmani.
Yogastha kuru karmani.
Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya.
Sangam tyaktva dhananjaya.
Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva.
Siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva.
Samatvam yoga uchyate.
Samatvam yoga uchyate.
Very important keywords. I would put 5 stars behind it. If you grasp the meaning of this and stick to that, wonderful. One thing we have to do in Karma Yoga is first step essential for all yoga, not only Karma Yoga. Whatever path we follow, whichever tradition you follow, Hinduism, Christianity, Buddhism, whatever you do, one common instruction is there. The common instruction for all of us is first step in our life, we should refrain from doing impure actions, immoral, illegal actions. What are they? Like telling lies, cheating, and doing all kinds of bad things. You have to give up. Even forgetting the spiritual life, to be a successful person, peaceful person in worldly life also we have to do this. So that is common. We understand that. We don't will assume it is done. We don't want to work on it anymore. That is first instruction. We have to keep in mind in all this. Then second instruction is build upon that. Karmani kuru means not any karma, but only good karma, which is consistent with dharma, virtual. This work we have to do every day. You go to work every day, whether you work in a bank or a school or a clinic or some other place, or you work at home. There's a lot of work at home. People do, stay home mother. All that work has to be done with a certain attitude. Karmani kuru. Now, Yogastha means be as a worker. That we still don't know what Yogastha means. There are two aspects to it. They come here. First aspect is Sangam Tyaktva, giving up attachment. Now this is a tricky word, Sangha, attachment. It can be misunderstood easily. Sangam Tyaktva means giving up attachment. Giving up attachment does not mean somehow in a very disinterested way, doing something and getting it out of the way, not putting our heart and soul into that one. This to be done, drudgery, get it out, done, do the minimum. Not that way. With the great enthusiasm and love and diligence, efficiency, we work. Still, we have to remain detached from the fruits of action. When the result comes, then we should maintain objectivity. I do my best. Whether success comes or failure comes, I will remain detached. Their detachment is the practice. When it comes to accepting the fruits of our work, if it is not to our liking, I still maintain objectivity. I did my best. Somehow other factors came into the equation, and this is the outcome. I will accept it. I will take it. Next time, something else happens. Some other work you do, outcome comes, it is to your liking. Oh, wonderful, I expected it to happen. You accept it with same equanimity. You don't become dejected in one case and arrogant and proud in the other case. Both are okay. Whatever outcome comes, if I have done my best, if I have done my work properly to my satisfaction, that's my part. I have played my part. The result part is not up to me, as I said in the previous sloka. I'm not the authority to dictate the outcome. Some other authority does that one. That we will understand later. He doesn't give that instruction now, he gives it later. Why this uncertainty is there in defining the outcome of work. We will understand that. But right now we have to learn to accept success and failure with equanimity. Their detachment is their practice. One instruction. Sometimes Sangha attachment may come to work itself. It is not good to get us to work itself. Supposing I am doing this work now. A time will come and I cannot do this work. Something will happen. Situation will change. Then I should accept that of the situation also. I enjoy doing this one. But if a time comes when I no longer is, I am required, they may say, people may say, don't come anymore, we don't like to hear you. Work has to be stopped. Or my body may fail. Or something that may happen and may have no stop. It will happen. Nothing is forever. When that happens, still I accept that work. I should not be so much attached to this that I must be always doing this work, and I must be doing this work, though some other people or better qualifications are available to do. That kind of attachment to work also is not good. Attachment to the fruits of work is also not good. I remain detached, but still do my work in the best possible way I can, with great love and joy and thankfulness. Thankfulness must be there for doing the work. For every work that we are allowed to do, required to do, great gratitude and joy, love and enthusiasm must be put into that work. Then work itself will give us satisfaction, happiness. We don't have to depend upon the result of work for our joy. When I do the work in such a way, I go home with great peace and great joy after my work. Whether everybody realizes God because they listen to me come my lecture, afterwards they leave the room, they forget, that is not up to me. I have no expectations about that. What happens to my lecture? I don't have any expectations. Really speaking, how many people will memorize Gita? How many people will be able to understand? How many people will do better than I do? Nothing is up to me. I have no control at all over that outcome. Because everybody's life is different. All of our lives are guided by somebody else above. I have no voice there. I have no expectation, no control. Whatever happens, I have done my part in the best way I knew how to do. That gave me satisfaction. As long as I can do, then I am happy. Result is not happy. That is the understanding. That is detachment in respect of karma. First instruction, practice detachment. Sangam Tyaktva. One aspect, key aspect of karma yoga. Now we see the second aspect. Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva. This is follows that one. Siddhi means success in work. Asiddhi means opposite of success, failure in work. In success and failure, Samo Bhutva, remaining equanimous. Sama means equanimous. My mind, I should remain same calmness. In success, I should not jump up and down. In failure, I should not suffer from dejection. In either case, I accept it with calmness. I have done my work, that gave me joy. Whatever comes, I accept it. Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. This samatva, this equanimity is the essence of yoga. That is yoga. See, it is very easy. It's not a difficult concept to understand. Not complicated. The life itself in the school, constantly we are learning. God is providing continuing opportunities, continuing education. Life is, so education doesn't end. It is how long as we live, so long as we are learning. Every day, every work, every opportunity is a learning opportunity. So, opportunity first to practice these things. When you go home and do some work, you bring up your children. In your profession, you do some work. So many work, so many items of work we are all doing every day, all of you. Then every opportunity is a learning opportunity. Every time you get a chance to practice these teachings, if you fail sometimes, next time we succeed. We may fail 10 times, but then constantly remind ourselves, this is what I have to do. And gradually we learn. Gradually we learn. But if you have to keep this, we have to keep this attitude. That brings us peace. The greatest advantage of this instruction is, Let us not worry about God and future realization, everything, moksha, everything, remote. Right now, if I practice this one, immediately I become peaceful. I become peaceful just by practicing this today in my life. What happens as a spiritual practice, whether I will see God or not, we will keep it all of that. But immediately I enjoy peace and joy. I have done the work, I got the opportunity, it was a great gift. Work is a gift. I have done it to the best, I could have done better, but next time I will do it better. And then I have loved it. Whatever happens, up to Him, I am happy. Just this much happened. If I go home with that feeling, every day if we go to bed with that feeling, every day today I have done this I did, this I could have done better, that I could not have done. Anyhow, tomorrow I will make all those corrections. But for today, I have done my best. I'm peaceful, happy. So I'm not going to worry about the result. Whatever comes, I'll accept it. If we keep that attitude, see, karma has great power to give us peace, happiness, contentment, and joy. Just by doing this much. Not even worrying about the spiritual aspect of that one. Other advantages, spiritual advantages. So that is why I find this sloka very interesting, appealing to me. When I read this sloka, it just itself gives me happy. Yogastha kuru karmani sanyam tyakva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samartham yoga uchyate. When I think about this sloka, that itself gives me a certain feeling of happiness. It's a wonderful instruction. The 49, 50 also it talks about Buddhi Yoga. 51. Buddhi Yoga means this, these two aspects. Buddhi Yoga means these two aspects. First is Sangam Tekva, free from attachment to work and its results. Second thing is remaining equanimous in success and failure. Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva. These two aspects we call Buddhi Yoga, the essence of Karma Yoga. Buddhi. If you follow that one, you are safe. Free from disappointments and all those negative things. Now, the very important topic begins in the 54th verse. 54 to the end of chapter, very important segment. There we have to study nicely, carefully. Many people memorize this for 55 to 72 they memorize. So you don't have to memorize, just grasp the meaning and think about it. So Arjuna comes up with a question in the 54th verse. Arjuna is always providing the material for Sri Krishna to expound. So Arjuna comes up with a nice question here. In the 54th verse, he says, Arjuna uvacha Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhisthasya keshava sthitati kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Question is Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna is translated here is Shankara's commentary. Sthita pratisthita aham asmi param brahma iti prajna yasya saha Sthita Prajna. Shankara's definition about Sthita Prajna is given here. Shankara says, aham asmi param brahma iti yasya prajna saha Sthita Prajna. What does he say? A person has a certain amount of, certain kind of self-image as to who I am. We all have some self-image, what I am, who I am. You think. Now, some people think, I am that Parabrahman, I am that divine being present within me. That means I am other things I am not. Nirvana Shaktam is very nice explanation of Chitta Prajna. Whole in Nirvana Shaktam of Shankara. So he says in the first stanza, Mano Yahankara Chitta Ninaham Nacha Shrotra Jigve Nacha Pranite Nacha Vyoma Bhumir Natejo Navayu Shidananda Rupavat Shivoham Shivoham. The remaining 5 stanzas, all these are lakshanas, characteristics or traits of the Chitta Prajna. Chitta Prajna is a person who is always established in this sense that I am not this image that my body is projecting, and not the body, mind, sense organs, and all the other things which are associated with the personality. I am the divine Chidananda Rupa Shiva. I am the blissful Chidananda. I am the Atman. I am the self. That position is what consistently can take. Remains in that position. Such a person is a Chitta Prajna. That is Shankara's definition of Chitta Prajna. Now read the translation. Here he says, a man of stable prajna, wisdom, is he who has the assured wisdom born of the experience. He talks about it. I can simply read and say I am the Parabrahman like that. I can also say, but that is not what is meant here. He says, born of the experience. I must really feel that I am not the body, mind, I am that Atma. That experience must be there. Only then, if I say I am Parabrahman, it makes sense. Otherwise, if I simply say I want $1 billion, if I say that one without having even $10 in my bank account, so does it mean anything? No, I must have that one. I must have this stuff. Then if I say I have this stuff, then it is acceptable. It makes sense. I am being truthful. But simply if I say, oh, I have $1 billion, I have $40 billion like Bill Gates, if I say that one, then it is hollow. It doesn't mean anything, just words. So he says, born of experience. Sthita pratishtita aham asmi param brahma iti prajna yasya sa prajna. The man of stable prajna, wisdom, is he who has the assured wisdom born of the experience, I am the Supreme Brahman. Of such a man, what is the description? So Arjuna is asking the qualities of such a who can be called like that, Sthita Prajna. What kind of external, observable traits does such a person display? We can see from outside as onlookers. Suppose there is a person, man or a woman, who has this experience of being one with the divine, Brahmajnani, or Jivan Mukta, is sitting there. It is not necessarily advertised, but I am a Brahmajnani, simply is there. But we as keen observers, onlookers, we can see certain things there in that personality. What are those things which distinguish a knower of Brahman, Mr. Prajna, from ordinary beings? How can we distinguish? How can we identify? What are the qualities of the Chitta Prajna? That is Arjuna's question. Now we can pause and ask, what is the purpose of this discussion? So why we are discussing the qualities about Brahmajnani? The purpose is, later on it will be made here, it serves two purposes. This description that is going to come of a Chitta Prajna, person of this wisdom, has two purposes. One is for people like us, it helps us to know, to identify a Chitta Prajna, wise person of this wisdom. But that is also not the real goal. The real purpose of this discussion that is going to come is for people like us who don't have the experience to practice these virtues and there thus reach the goal. So for us, these are the goal things to do. For such a person, it is his natural state. He has reached that state. A Sthita Prajna has reached that state where all these qualities can be seen in such a personality. But for those who are aspiring seekers, these are things to do. We have to practice this and these virtues that this person has practiced. We can see it in his personality. That is the purpose of this listing. So we have to keep this as our spiritual sadhana. We have to do these things. We have to practice these virtues that Sri Krishna is going to describe as characteristics of this wise person, of this wisdom. That's why this list is going to come here. Long list. So prajnasya bhasha. What some specific aspects Arjuna asked. What is his description? How he is spoken of by others to Krishna? How would he himself speak? Ka bhasha samadhisthasya. One is established. Samadhisthasya can start here. Yogastha, grahastha, samadhistha. Samadhistha means one who is established in samadhi. Such a person. Samadhisthasya ka bhasha. How does he or she speak? People speak in many different ways. Some people always say something necessary, relevant, keep on patterning something. But what does the Siddha Prajna do? How does he speak? What kind of speech? Kavacha samadhistasya keshava sutani kim prabhasheta. How does he speak? Kavacha, how is he spoken about? Kimasita vrajeta kim. How does he sit down? Sit down. How does he normally behave? Demeanor. How those things. How does he normally behave? Kimasita vrajeta kim. How does he walk? How does he sit? How does he walk? Means not literally sitting and walking, but general behavior. Generally, how does such a person behave, whether alone or in the company of other people? They don't change their behavior depending upon who is watching, who is not watching. There is no public persona separately from private person. They are always the same. Nothing to hide, nothing to show. Nothing to show, nothing to hide. You don't want to show some qualities for such a great person. I don't want to hide anything, no secret. This is what I am. Under a tree they live. No privacy, nothing. What you see is what is available. What you get. That. So, total transparency in that personality. Now we go to the specifics. Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Prajahati Yada Kaman
Prajahati Yada Kaman
Sarvan Partha Manogatan
Sarvan Partha Manogatan
Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha
Atmanyeva Tushtaha
Ita Prajnastadochyate. So the Lord begins to answer that question of Arjuna. What happens from here, another end of this chapter, till end of this chapter, 78 verse or so, is he simply gives a fairly long list of characteristics, personal qualities that you can see in a person of this kind of wisdom. So these things that are going to be discussed, we have to keep them as our goal. I want to practice these and these disciplines. I want to be like that. How to be like that? We have to start living like that. If you start living like that, so same thing here. If I want to become a Chitta Prajna, every day I must do what Chitta Prajna does. If I do something differently, then how can I become a Chitta Prajna? Just as somebody becomes a doctor by doing all the things that doctors do, same thing I must do. If I want to become a Chitta Prajna, I must know what Chitta Prajna does. I must emulate, copy him, so that as if I am already a Chitta Prajna. by engaging in this practice diligently, gradually the qualities will come to me. Those will become natural to me. Then I will become. That is why this is testimony is very important. But keep that simply not reading and enjoying our prajnas like that wonderful. But we have to do those things ourselves. That's the purpose of this is. We have to practice those disciplines. That's the only way to become a Siddha. Not merely reading, but practice. So we take one by one. This is a long list and each of them has to be understood as much as possible. So he says, begins with the first instruction which is itself difficult. What does Prajna do? First thing it does is, Yada Sarvat Manogatan Kaman Prajahati Tada Siddha Prajna Uchate. First quality is, how does such a person deal with the desires that arise in his or her mind? We talked about desires at length. Again it has come. Important topic. So many desires come in our mind. They just come from somewhere. Deep out from this subconscious levels. Previous samskaras, they generate desires. Or some external impulse also generates desire. I see something as somebody, then I want to go acquire or be with. That's one kind of desire coming from external stimulus. Desire, I don't see anything in anybody, but still desire comes from within. It is there already in seed form. So it can from anywhere, anytime, any kind of desire, any type of desire may come. When desire arises in the mind, Manogatan, Sarvan, Kaman, what does he or she do? Prajahati means control. Does not kill, but controls. Prajahati means control. Does not impulsively jump to fulfill the desire moment it comes. Supposing I get a desire to need some cake or sweet or something, I should not immediately go to the bakery or restaurant and start eating. Wait a minute, let me see. This desire has come. What am I supposed to do with that? That kind of reflection must precede the action. Then we'll decide, examine what kind of desire it is. Is it good for me to fulfill it? Should I postpone it? Should I not do it? Should I do something else instead of that one? All those reflections I have to do. I should not simply, as moment desire comes, I'll fulfill it right away. Impulsively, if I do that, no problem. No, not no problem. Not a problem. Not a problem. That's not. So, Siddha Prajna, Yada Manogatan Parthat Prajahati Tada Siddha Prajna. When a person knows how to deal with desires wisely, controls them, does not always quench them or just push them down, no repression, but then he will come back again. That's not the way. He deals with it wisely. Deals with desire wisely. There are instructions on how to deal with desire. Nextly, takes care of that. It's not overpowered. So here, in 5th chapter, there is one shloka. It says, Shatnoti Haivayas Kodam, see 5:22, 20:21, 22, 20:21. Shatnoti Haivayas Kodam, Prapya Vira Vimokkanat. Kama Kodot Bhavam Megam Sai. Kama Kodot Bhavam Megam Sayukta Prasukhinaraha. Who is a happy person? Who is a yogi yukta? Well interpreted. Who is such a person? That person who, even now, if I were, Shatnoti is able to bear, so is able to bear what? The onslaught of waves of desire and anger. Kama, Krodha, Vegam. This karma and krodha, two great forces. There are two aspects of the same coin. Kama and krodha are not different. Kama means desire, uncontrolled desire. Krodha means anger. There is not two separate things. Two aspects of the same thing. Like two sides of the coin. When they arise in the mind, sometimes they come with great force, like waves. We should not allow ourselves to be overpowered by those waves of desire and anger. They come, I know how to deal with them. Hey, let me see what I should do with you. We should tell them. When anger comes, same thing. We should not start yelling and screaming and doing things in anger. Okay, anger has come, let me see what to do with this one. If you just hold it for a second, that itself, the speed of that, the power of that will greatly reduced. It comes like a hurricane sometimes. No advance warning, no caution. When the waves of anger and desire come, if we don't exercise control, they make the person do most unwise things which ordinarily such a person would not do, and once these things are done, consequences will. That we study in this segment. So a person has to be able to withstand and manage wisely, control and manage the desire that arises in the mind. Rajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatam. First instruction. Second instruction is Atmanyeva atmana tushtaha. This is another very interesting point. Tushta means content, happy with or content with. Now, for our happiness, ordinary person, what does he or she do? How do we find happiness? We discussed it at length. What do we do to find happiness? We buy things like an expensive dress or a car or something jewelry or a house or something. The things that we don't have, we buy, acquire, hoping that they will bring us happiness. That's one thing we do, one of several things we do to find happiness. Namely, acquisition of things, hoping that they will bring us happiness. People buy all kinds of things. They acquire things like that. So first thing many people do is to find happiness is to acquire things to find happiness, acquisition of things. What do we do? Besides buying things or possessing things, what else do we do for happiness? We seek happiness through relationships. People marry, raise children, have spouses, have friends, and other people close to them. That relationship brings happiness. If that's what we do. We seek happiness in relationships. Acquisition of things, cultivating relationships, seeking happiness. So these are the ways relationships, possessions, fame and power and seeking fame and power and fulfillment in work. Now, in the fifth chapter, Sri Krishna talks about happiness and more, but here he says, how does Siddha Prajna find happiness? Siddha Prajna, how does he find happiness? Not through these means. Because the happiness that comes through these means, relationships and position, property, fame, position, power, everything, that is limited in many ways. First of all, it is not for all time. Only for some time you find that happiness. Then it will fade away. Or even if you become president for only 4 years, maybe maximum 8 years if you are re-elected, then you have to leave the White House. Like everything has a term limit in life. All these things have a term limit. After that, that happiness ceases. Our ability to enjoy will cease even if the things are there. Like property, food and dress, etc. I may have them in my possession for a long time, but if my body becomes old and weak, then I don't find happiness in wearing an expensive dress or eating a very nice meal or doing anything. Then all I have to do is to take medication and all doctors and everything. All those things are there, but no happiness. So there is limitation there. They know the limitations of this kind of happiness. Then how do they find? They are always happy things. They don't have any possessions. They may have very few pieces of clothes and they live somewhere in one room or somewhere they live. But they seem to be always joyful. How do they find their happiness? And where does it come? He says here, Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. Atman means the self inside. Oh, right. So, they sit down calmly and analyze where is the locus of happiness.